Two. Oh, hey, what's up? We're live. What a great start. Welcome to the show, everybody. It's Tuesday night. I thought I was going to hit the live button. Someone else hit the live button. Sneak attack. Adam Azer, Jamie Eisenberg here. Chris Towers should be joining us very shortly as we're answering your questions on fantasy football today. And thank you so much for hanging out with us on this Tuesday night. So, Jamie, since we last spoke, Raheem Mostert is out for the season. Should we have done the Waiver Wire podcast over, or most of it still apply?
I mean, I don't know if. Look, we were under the assumption at the time we talked earlier today that it was an 8-week injury for Raheem Mostert, with the thought that maybe it could be longer than that. So I don't know how much that changes things for Elijah Mitchell. They bring in Kerryon Johnson. Who knows what that's going to do, for the running back roulette that they're probably going to play. I still think at some point we're going to have a lot of love for Trey Sermon. I still think at some point we're going to have a lot of love for Jeff Wilson. I still think at some point we're going to have a lot of love for Elijah Mitchell. So it's going to be one of those seasons where there's going to be pockets of each of those guys doing some good things. As we speak, I'm trying to find out if I can confirm this or not, but there may be something that Brandon Ayuk and Trey Sermon had a curfew issue in Detroit. So that could be part of this.
Be interesting. And that would really make me a little hesitant to go all in with Elijah Mitchell. Yeah, Chris Towers. Where are you at, Chris Towers? There's your video.
Hello.
All right. So we got to stay on top of that. I got some bids in for Elijah Mitchell, and I'm going to reduce them if it was a curfew issue with Sermon and Ayuk. Although, and that maybe that goes to the whole Ayuk needs to learn how to be a pro kind of deal. But Chris, you give me your take. How much fab would you spend on Elijah Mitchell?
I love when the internet freezes.
What happened? Let's try this again. Chris, give me your take. How much would you spend on Elijah Mitchell?
It's so because I'm doing a speed test right now, and I'm at max internet. I've got all of the internet, but for some reason, I log on to this stream, and it's only when Jamie's on. Maybe he's sabotaging me. I don't know what's going on.
Must be.
Elijah Mitchell, I think it's 25% is what I'd be willing to go, but I don't think you're going to get him if you do that. I think you probably need to do something like 40% to be able to get him. The thing for me is just, as good as this running game is, we know San Francisco's offense has been very plug and play when it comes to the running back position over the years. And so it's Elijah Mitchell right now. But if Elijah Mitchell, sprains an ankle and has to miss 3 drives and Trey Sermon's active and Trey Sermon looks good, maybe it's Trey Sermon moving forward. We've seen that before with this offense. There was a week last year where Jermichael Hasty was the top waiver wire ad, and now he's kind of being overlooked. I'd probably be more likely to end up with Jermichael Hasty on my teams this week. Put in a low offer on him as an arbitrage play.
Yeah, and like we've been saying, don't drop Trey Sermon. All right, we have a lot of questions that aren't about Elijah Mitchell or the 49ers, and this is an interesting one from Jay. Who would you rather target from Denver after Judy's injury, Hamler or Patrick? Hamler's a 1-for-1 replacement in the slot for Judy, and Patrick is a better wide receiver. So who would you target, Hamler or Patrick?
Patrick for me. I'm curious to see how Hamler is going to perform, but we've seen Patrick as a injury replacement for this team. I think he can play inside. I think he can play outside. They can do, I think, some different things with all of their receivers, to be honest with you. But I just think that Hamler is one of those, he'll surprise you one week and then you'll start him the next week and he'll be a huge disappointment. Typical boomer bust receiver.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Patrick is probably pretty underrated. If you look at his career, he's right around 9 yards per target, which is very, very good for a wide receiver. He usually gets downfield targets. And I think he's probably likely to be more involved in the offense than Hamler moving forward.
And he was involved in the offense against the Giants, but just the key is he's just going to hopefully get more targets, because it's not necessarily about more playing time. Hamler's going to benefit in that regard, but hopefully more targets for Patrick, who had 5 games last year with 6 or more targets. And in those 5 games, he scored in PPR 23, 14, 12, 10, and 16 fantasy points. That's solid stuff. All right, let's keep going here. Should I be comfortable with Noah Fant, or should I bid for Rob Gronkowski, and how much in half PPR?
I like Gronkowski more, but
Really?
I think you should be comfortable with Fant.
You like Gronk more than Fant with the Judy injury?
I like the way he looked, man. He looked in great shape. I think, this is they can't cover him. You can't cover anyone in that team. So is he going to have 2 touchdowns weekly? Obviously not. Does he have a better chance of scoring weekly than Noah Fant? Clearly, yes. I mean, we've seen Fant have a hard time reaching the end zone. And the tying factor, if you're going to say it's close, who's got the better quarterback? It's pretty easy. So I'll take Gronk. And I wish I would have said I would take Gronk in the preseason.
I do wonder, with Fant, I think he's a really special talent at tight end. He's got that ability like a George Kittle. I think he's kind of second to George Kittle in this way in terms of being able to make plays with the ball in his hands. And I think that's a really special skill for a tight end to have. Man, he was on the field for almost every snap this week, almost every pass. He ran a route on pretty much every pass. So I think this could be the start of him being really, really good.
He's going to benefit from the Judy injury.
Yeah, I think I would go Fant over Gronk, but I did move Gronk into my top 12 for week 2.
I have him, and I'm put in a bid for Gronk. I think if you can have 2 good tight ends on your team, that's very valuable. I don't know that I'd drop Fant for Gronk, but if you can get both, that's a thin position, and you might be able to make a trade. I'm not saying you'll be able to steal the league. You're not going to trade Gronk for Henry or anything, but you could, maybe get something valuable out of it. So
but you might be able to trade Gronk and something for like an Allen Robinson or a Mike Evans or one of these guys that had a bad week 1. Certainly the running backs, if you're able to put some sort of package together. Like you said, it's a thin position. So if you're confident in Fant or you're confident in Gronk, you can flip Fant after this week because he should have a good week this week also against the Jaguars.
Yeah, don't flip him for that Jets game, though. I have the number 1 waiver claim, Latavius Murray or Elijah Mitchell.
I mean, Dan Arnold was great.
No, but Ian Thomas was open in the end zone. He should have had a touchdown. So that means Albert O is going to score against the Jets. Who would you go with now, Murray or Mitchell?
Oh, boy. I think I'd go Mitchell still.
Chris agrees. Would you use your 3rd waiver priority spot on a 12-team league to pick up Jeff Wilson and stash him in IR?
If you have to use your 3rd priority spot, then that's a crazy competitive league. I can't imagine that you have to do that. So if your waivers run and then you can pick them up as a first come, first serve, that type of deal, then that's what I would do. I would not spend the 3rd spot. You have to carry him for 6 weeks. There's no guarantee he's going to be healthy after that. And then you have to wonder what his role is going to be exactly. So I would probably wait it out.
Michael asks, he has Gerald Everett in half PPR. Should he pick up Cook or Kmet instead of Everett? Drop Everett.
I think I'd rather have Kmet than Everett at this point.
I'd rather have both than Everett. I do think there's still a big ceiling for Everett, but the fact that Will Dissly's not going away is a problem. That he had more targets is a problem. That you're counting on Russell Wilson to support 3 guys, which we've never really seen, and those other 2 guys. I mean, Jared Cook was clearly the 3rd guy for the Chargers. Now, what happens when Austin Eckler is more involved in the passing game? That's the big question. But Kmet, by the way, spelled a K.
He meant CNET.
CMET. Is that like?
Oh, it's the Met Gala.
The Met Gala, it's true.
Gala, yes.
I think Cole Kmet, that was impressive. He was a nice surprise in that game against the Rams.
Chris, your favorite Met Gala outfit? It's got to be.
I really liked Lil Nas X's overcoat that he removed to reveal a robot costume that he removed to reveal like a.
I knew you would have a good answer to this, and you froze again, Chris. But
I mean, Sierra was awesome.
Sierra was great. Yeah, Sierra. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but the Russell Wilson dress, yes, that was very, very cool. Are we dropping Giovanni Bernard for Kenneth Gainwell?
If you're never playing Gio, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think you should because he gets some carries. He's only 1 injury away from a bigger role. Hey, Ronald Jones is starting this week. What do you guys think about that?
Bleeping stupid is this whole thing?
It's welcome to the Bucs.
It's so annoying.
Oh man, yeah, it's weird.
The problem is like Ronald Jones could have a really good game, or he could fumble or miss 1 blitz assignment, and that's it. He has no margin for error. He is like the ultimate boom bust play, except I'm not sure the boom potential is all that likely.
The problem is he'll go for $120 and a touchdown, and then we'll all go back to starting him next week, and then he'll fumble in the first quarter, and then we won't know what to do, and then Bruce Arians will say he's still our guy, and then I want to.
Who are you ranking higher, Fournette or Jones?
Fournette.
You know what the problem is? Bruce Arians has adopted the RBs don't matter mantra as his worldview. And I don't appreciate that when coaches actually do that.
I think the nice thing is that Tom Brady saved him from his tight ends don't matter view because he used to hate tight ends.
True. Yeah. Yeah. He believes in the running back dead zone, I guess. Would you give Ryan Tannehill and Chris Godwin for Jalen Hurts and DJ Chark?
No, I think that's an overreaction.
No.
Okay. Would you drop Mecole Hardman for Tim Patrick, and how much would you spend out of $200?
Yes, I would, and probably $15.
I think that makes sense, yeah.
All right. Love you guys. Thank you, Brosy Brosum. Kareem Hunt and Robbie Anderson for Jonathan Taylor or Chris Carson. Well, Taylor we like. Would you give up Kareem Hunt and Robbie Anderson for Jonathan Taylor in a standard scoring league? Oh, yeah.
I'd be fine
I do it for both.
Yeah, me too. You'd be fine with that, Chris? Come on. That's a win. That's a big win in a
That's a huge win if you're getting Taylor.
Hurrah!
Yeah. There it is.
Huzzah.
Because it will freeze your internet, but Ramondre Stevenson or Michael Hasty?
I think there's like a 50-50 chance Stevenson won't be active this week, so I'll go with Hasty.
This is an interesting one because if Harris fumbles again, Stevenson could be in the lead role for the Patriots. But Stevenson's got to hold on to the ball. And Chris is right. He may not be active. So he may be a fumble away from being the Patriots lead guy, but Hasty also could be the 49ers lead guy. I still hold on to Stevenson just because it just seems like it's going to be a mess in San Francisco at some point.
I just don't really. Are the Patriots not deflating the ball properly anymore? What is going on over there, Bill? Get it together. Love your Marlins hat, Chris. That's a Marlins?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Jamie, did you know that was a Marlins hat?
No. I know he had a CBS hat there. They look like that, though.
It's their Cuban Havana Sugar Kings like homage.
Oh, okay.
That's cool. Should be their normal look. It's amazing.
From Nova, should I drop Justin Fields for Jameis Winston?
If you need to start someone, obviously.
Yeah.
Like if you had Matt Ryan and Justin Fields, you have to drop one to pick up Winston. I'd probably drop Ryan.
Yeah, I'd prefer to drop Ryan.
But if you're just looking at upside, I still think Justin Fields has more upside than Jameis Winston. I think we're going to see. I got a lot of questions from people about what do you do with Trey Lance and Justin Fields, in redraft leagues. Fields I'm holding if you can. Lance I'm dropping if you need to make a move.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Jamie, do you want to read this as Arnold?
Oh no, the freeze.
All right, what about this?
I think you guys just need to chill out.
Zeke and Julio Jones for David Montgomery and AJ Brown. Oh, that's a nice trade there. What do you got? Zeke and Julio or Montgomery and AJ Brown, half PPR?
I think it's really fair. I think it's really close. I might prefer the Montgomery and AJ Brown side though.
I think I might also, just because I don't know if Julio is done. Like I hope week 1 wasn't he's just cooked and terrible. AJ Brown I think is just a much better player at this point. So the running back situation could be close.
Yeah, I want to see what that offense looked like when Chandler Jones hasn't built a house in the backfield, Yeah,
David Montgomery I think is possibly going to be one of my biggest regrets. Don't think I have any David Montgomery.
I'll tell you what, I regret it all. I have him a couple leagues, but I don't like the role in the passing game at all. That really made me a little concerned because he ran well against the Rams. Give him credit. That was a great rushing performance. But every obvious passing situation, he was off the field for Damian Williams. And that could only get worse when Tariq Cohen gets back.
What were the splits, Chris? We went over the third down splits and the routes and all that.
He played more third down snaps and he ran more routes than Damian Williams. And, what I haven't been able to figure out is when exactly. I know Montgomery left the game. I think he had a hand injury or something. He left the game for a little while. I haven't been able to figure out exactly when he left and how many snaps
he didn't miss any time. I think he may have dislocated his finger and looked like he popped it back in.
Yeah. But he missed
wasn't
a little bit because I
But
think there was like one drive where Damian Williams was in entirely.
The end of the first half, though, when they were in their hurry up, it was all Damian Williams.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the third down and the snaps, the routes run were pretty even between the two, right?
I think Montgomery was actually ahead in both, but yes, I think they were
fairly close. Yeah.
They weren't in Williams' favor for sure.
Should I be worried about James Robinson? Well, James Robinson, Mauricio, he is terrible. James Robinson. Sorry, we're just having fun. I'm not making fun of you. I'm worried about James. I'm worried about Urban Meyer. Well, are you guys worried about James Robinson?
I'd like it if Urban Meyer took the USC job. Yeah, I'm worried. I'm absolutely worried. This is a bad team, and they were a bad team last year, but at least he was the featured part of that bad team. He's not going to be the featured part of the bad team with Trevor Lawrence on the team.
Yeah.
So Carlos Hyde being there is a problem. This team stinking is a problem. I hope at some point they'll figure it out and just use him much more in the passing game. But week 1 was ugly. Very, very ugly for James Robinson.
One thing that I did like was he did actually have a pretty sizable role in the passing game. 6 targets. 3 of those targets came when he was split out wide. I think it was like 8 to 10 routes split out wide. He ran something like 35 routes in this game as well. So he was a big part of the passing game. And as long as that remains the case, I think he'll be useful for fantasy. But obviously, I had him as a number 1 running top 12 running back last week. Clearly that was wrong. If Carlos Hyde's going to take work from him to the extent that we saw, I think he can be in that flex conversation, but it's more like a Nyheim Hines.
Well,
you got to sit him this week.
Would you try to turn Josh Jacobs or Daryl Henderson into James Robinson?
I'd rather have Daryl Henderson at this point.
I don't know if I could do that in either direction.
Yeah. I mean, Jacobs with the 2 touchdowns, but just hobbling the entire game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just can't feel great about that. All right, let's see. Do I drop Jerry Judy?
If you don't have an IR spot, you're probably going to see him dropped in some leagues.
Yeah. Yeah, it's time. It's time for IR. I don't know why it took me so long to realize that you need to have IR spots. We did it for COVID last year.
It's so annoying when you do. Like, I'm in one league that still doesn't. I'm not the commissioner, and like I drafted Michael Thomas on purpose, even knowing that there was no IR spot. And it's like it's just driving me nuts. Like,
yeah, it's
and we have deep benches.
You don't have to do unlimited IR, but at least 1, preferably 2.
Yeah, 5 is a lot.
Yeah, and for me, they have to be actually on IR. You can't have it be like the
Publis. You should have them on there. Publis.
Yeah, Publis, NFI, whatever version of the long-term out.
Right, no questionable.
Yeah.
Here's another trade question from Henry. Would you trade Daryl Henderson and Leviska Chennault for Rob Gronkowski and Antonio Brown, or Rob Gronkowski and Robert Woods?
I would. I mean, you're getting, I think, a wide receiver upgrade for sure with Woods. I would expect it still with Brown.
Yeah.
At least based on what we saw in week 1. And look, Henderson is a loss, but you can maybe, if you have a tight end, you can maybe flip Gronk for a running back.
Yeah. You're getting with Woods, you're getting the best player in the deal, at least the highest draft.
Yeah, and I feel better about Daryl Henderson in the short term after week 1, but I still very much have my concerns that he's going to, potentially lose that job or enter into a timeshare at some point. Like, it wasn't that great of a fantasy performance for a guy who played all but 3 snaps.
I feel like they just didn't. Did they just not run that many plays? I mean, they had because they had the 2 long touchdowns. They didn't have a ton of possession. And Stafford, I mean, they just didn't.
Well, they had 3 long touchdowns with a defensive score.
The Rams?
Oh, no, I thought you were talking about the 49ers.
I thought we were talking about Henderson. I'm sorry.
Oh, I saw the question with Lance. I thought that's where you pivoted to.
Oh, no, my bad. We're still on. All right, Cliff.
They only ran 50 plays in this one, and Henderson
How weird is that?
47 of them.
That's like not a lot. 12-team standard scoring league. I got Ben Roethlisberger and Trey Lance. Should I use my 3rd waiver on Derek Carr or wait for free agency?
I'm not burning my 3rd waiver spot for Derek Carr when Big Ben takes on the Raiders this week.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to roster 3 quarterbacks either. So I think you would have to make a tough decision one way or the other there.
Somebody gave me some flack on Twitter for starting Carson Wentz over Derek Carr. But I think that I should get credit for this because Wentz beat him in regulation. So to me, that's a win.
Yeah,
Well,
but you
it's
bench
like
Jameis for both of them.
Well, that was weird circumstances. I didn't want to bench Jameis for both of them, but
there was
Yeah, but you say
was
that.
also-
Though. I'm sorry, Chris, but you say that was weird circumstances. You went into the week with saying your decision was Derek Carr or Carson Wentz. Like
yeah,
you never once brought up Jameis Winston.
I thought I was going to trade. I tried to trade him. I didn't think he was going to be on my team. I did say if I have Jameis Winston, I will start him.
No, you did not.
I did say that.
No, you did not.
You know what? Honestly, I probably said it on the Thursday after the stream.
Adam,
I did say that.
You lied either way.
What do you mean?
You didn't start him.
Yeah, well,
You still would have lost. It's okay.
I still would have lost. I played the high score. I played the high score in a lot of leagues this week, or a top 2 or 3 anyway.
Oh,
I did.
you
You
know
had the high score against me. Jamie had the high score against me. I just got a little unlucky this week.
Yeah, speaking of that weird game, like there's been a lot of talk about Bryan Edwards this week as a waiver wire target. And sure, throwing out there, but like he didn't catch a pass until there were 37 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So, like I've seen some Bryan Edwards victory lapping, and it's like he had a 9% target share.
I was on Zay Jones. Everybody knows that. So I'm going to victory lap on Zay Jones. Should I drop Mecole Hardman for Sterling Shepard, PPR?
Yes.
Sure.
Should I trade Lamar Jackson? Oh, I want to tell you guys about a tough tweet that I got about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, Damian Harris, Latavius Murray, and Marquez Callaway for Mahomes, Trey Sermon, James White, and Tim Patrick.
Yes.
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think it's I think you're just like swapping very similar.
Yeah, actually, no, I wouldn't do
it. Like you only one side of this they both have an elite quarterback. One side of this has a guaranteed starting running back for fantasy right now. And that's Damian Harris. So I think
and Callaway at least is going to have some role. Patrick may have no role when Judy's back.
Yeah, and Callaway, like it was a bad game, but I don't think we can take anything from that game in any regard except for Alvin Kamara's usage. They threw 21 passes. That's not going to happen moving.
And he was on the field for like 87% of the snaps.
Yeah, I think it was 19 of the 21 pass plays he ran a route on. Like his usage he was clearly the number one wide receiver.
Right. And why throw at, I don't know how much Alexander was on Callaway, but I'm sure it was enough.
Yeah, so I was asked, would I trade Tom Brady for Lamar Jackson in a 4-point per passing touchdown league?
I hope you said yes.
I did say yes, but it wasn't as easy for me as it was for you guys. A little. I just didn't really like what I saw from the Ravens last night. I really feel like they're missing Dobbins and Murray. Dobbins and
take away the fumbles. What was the scoring difference in that format?
Oh, it was probably like 11 or 12
points, and Brady scored 35.
In 4 points, I'm talking about.
Oh, then Brady. How many touchdowns did Brady throw? 4.
Brady threw 3, and he had 2 picks.
Okay, so take away 6 points. So Brady scored 29, and Jackson scored 17. Take away the fumbles. Well, then I'm taking away the interceptions because now.
Well, I mean, look, the interceptions were fluky, clearly, but that's a little bit more prone to happen in a Bruce Arians offense than Lamar Jackson fumbling. Historically, the first time a quarterback has fumbled twice in the fourth quarter in overtime.
Yeah, no, but one was off Fournette's hands and one was on a Hail Mary. So
no, I get the circumstances. But what I'm saying is like, don't. I guess it's not fair to do that. So. That's fine.
I would just say
it's a weird argument for me to make that losing Dobbins and Edwards hurts Lamar Jackson, but I just don't really want to see him as a pocket passer.
I would just say, one, he wasn't a pocket passer. I mean, he ran for 86 yards, and two, if I had told you before the season that Sammy Watkins and Marquise Brown were both going to top 70 yards in their first game with a touchdown. I guess only one touchdown, but Marquise Brown. But you probably would have been like, that's great news for Lamar Jackson.
No, I had said all along, I don't want him throwing. I don't. He was at his best when he threw 20 times a game. I did say that. He's at his best when he's running. And he did run a lot. He did run a lot. But, most of it was scrambling, But I don't know. I just didn't love what I saw from the Ravens offense last night.
You always got to wonder what teams, when like they weren't heavily favored, but they were road favorite. So, that factors in. When teams have that mindset of, if we just play our game, we should beat you. And so do you want to try some things and be creative and do a little different, schemes and whatnot, especially week 1? Let's see what the reaction is to week 2.
All right, but the other thing is Tom Brady outscored Lamar Jackson in 4-point per passing touchdown leagues last year. So, I know we all expect a bounce back, but I do think let's not overlook that Brady was actually better than him last year. Although per game, Jackson was better by 1 point because Jackson only played 15 games. All right. Anyway, let's go on.
Was he?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty shocked by this. He scored 22.1 per game and Brady scored 21.1. And all right. Anyway, let's go to, you know what? That actually gives me some perspective that I think you got to go with Jackson.
Oh, I mean, the upside's clearly higher for Jackson.
Yeah, and there's really not that much downside if he didn't have that great of a year last year and he still was better per game than Tom Brady. So let's go with him. Is Tim Patrick worth the number 1 waiver pick? No way.
14-team league, 16-team league, your receiver needy, maybe, but I would say no for the most part.
Are we abandoning the Michael Carter ship?
No.
If you're getting Elijah Mitchell, yes.
Yeah,
if you're getting Nyheim Hines in PPR, yes. If you're getting Mark Ingram, I'd probably want to hold on to Michael Carter.
Who do you like this week in PPR? Callaway, Rager, or Aguilar?
Callaway.
Still Callaway.
Man, the Eagles are getting not that I'm starting Rager, but they're going to go 2-0. What's the line on this game? Anybody know? Niners coming to Philly? Check.
I'm not there.
I have no idea. I think the Niners are actually favored.
They are staying on the East Coast, so you don't have to worry about all the travel. This game, where are you, spread? Why is this take? Niners were 4-point favorites. Now it's 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5.
All right. I'm becoming an Eagles fan this year. It's very strange. Would you drop Callaway or Myers for Mark Ingram?
No.
Like Ingram's fine if you need a running back. Like if you went 0 RB or you lost your number 2 running back, okay, fine. But there is 0 upside there. Like if he does not score a touchdown every week, he's going to get you 6.5 points.
T. Higgins or Mike Williams PPR this week?
Higgins.
Oh, man, I like both. I think I have Higgins ranked higher by a couple spots, but it wouldn't surprise me given the nature of that potential shootout between Dallas and the Chargers if Williams is better.
I actually have Williams ranked higher. I correct myself.
All right, there you go. Would you drop Philip Lindsay for Tim Patrick or Sterling Shepard?
Yep,
yes.
Either.
Eric said he appreciated our guillotine talk. Cool. I liked it too. It was fun. I survived with Matt Ryan, but do I invest early and pick Aaron Rodgers up?
I think it all depends on the cost, and what you think you can get him for. So this is the thing, can you get by with Matt Ryan without having to break your bank to get Aaron Rodgers? That's the key. I don't have to be better than everybody else. I just have to be better than the worst team in the league. And if you don't think you're going to do that, then you spend for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Pretty interested to see if the Falcons offense bounces back. They were so bad last week.
Vegas is not optimistic. Their implied total is 19.25. I think that's one of the 5 lowest in the in the league. Though I do, the Cowboys didn't have a particularly high implied total last week. So I do wonder, whether it's easy to overreact to last year's defensive numbers.
They are not running on the Bucs. We know that.
No.
So
they shouldn't try.
Does Murphy Bunting's injury, does the shaky secondary that we saw last week, does that lead to Matt Ryan throwing 50 times and them having some success that way? But it's just hard to count on it after they couldn't do really much against the Eagles.
Yeah. Okay, we got a couple more I want to read here. Got another half hour, don't worry. Flex half PPR, Devontae Smith, Tyson Williams, or Corey Davis?
I think I have Corey Davis ranked highest out of this group.
Yeah, I want no part of the Jets with that offensive line going against Bill Belichick with a rookie quarterback. Bench all your Jets this week, please.
So you said Devontae?
Yeah.
How much fab for Elijah Mitchell?
All of it.
No.
Somewhere between 20 and 40%, depending on what you think your league is going to do.
Yeah, 25% for me, 45% if you need him.
What is that avatar? I mean, that doesn't look like Darth Vader. Or
It is Darth Vader.
I think that's just like him.
Oh, it could be the Mandalorian.
No, I think it's just him in his room.
You think it's
there's like a closet behind him. I don't remember. I've seen a lot of Star Wars. I don't remember many closets.
I think you're right. Oh man, I've been reminiscing about Dirty Work on Twitter today.
I mean, rest in peace, Norm Macdonald. Just an absolute comedic genius. One of the
really
funniest
is
of all time.
What was he did a roast?
The Bob Saget roast is like I might have laughed at that more than anything in my life.
Remind me, because I feel like I did too, but I can't remember it. Just give me a highlight. It'll come back.
Bob, a lot of people say Bob's not a good looking guy, but I think Bob's got the face of a flower. Yeah, cauliflower.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of, I think the story there is Comedy Central told him to like be edgy. And so he went and bought a like 1950s joke book and just read all the jokes from that. Bob, you got a lot of well wishers here. A lot of people who'd like to throw you down one. A well.
Yes.
They want to murder you in a well.
Yes, that's right. He kept
It
going.
seems harsh, but that's what it says here on this card.
It's just absolutely brilliant. All right, we're going to take a break here. We'll be back in 15 seconds. Keep reminiscing about Norm Macdonald. We'll be right back.
I am in the mood to take someone down.
It's not judicial. This is personal.
Let it go.
Do you know what time it is?
Time to put on my big boy pants.
Oh, Billions is awesome, by the way. You should be watching it. All right, here we go. I want to trade Zeke or Lamb. Which one should I trade?
You're going to get a lot more for Lamb right now.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to trade him, by the way. It's not bad to have two players on a great offense.
That shouldn't really bother you. Like, as a tiebreaker when you're drafting, okay, if you don't want to have two guys on the same offense, that's fine. But it really shouldn't factor into your decision making.
I mean, I have to read this one, right? Is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer? Yeah. Yeah.
As a broadcaster, maybe.
He's definitely a Hall of Famer, but he's one of the worst Hall of Famers. But he's
going to set the bottom bar.
Yeah, I mean, he's only a Hall of Famer because of the playoffs. But yes, should I pick up Larry Roundtree or Gainwell? Who would you pick up?
Gainwell.
Should I drop Beckham for Mike Williams? Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah.
If he's your worst player, yeah.
Robbie Anderson for Tim Patrick. I don't know. That's a starter sit or a drop. Yeah, no, you don't drop.
No, you don't drop Robbie Anderson for Tim.
No, and start Anderson.
Who do I start this week? Saquon. I don't know which Robinson that is. I don't know which Jay Williams that is. I guess these are all running backs. Okay. Yeah, Saquon, James Robinson, Jamal or Javonte, Dylan or Latavius Murray. Who do I start?
Either Jay Williams.
I would go with Saquon.
I have like no faith in him.
No, none.
Not at all. But I don't have faith in any of the other guys either.
I think Javonte Williams has a monster game against the Jaguars, and I think Jamal Williams has a very good game against the Packers.
Hey, I had a bold prediction about Javonte Williams. I said 14 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown.
I may have a start of the week for Javonte Williams this week.
No, why? Wow. Why? That's too risky. And plus, I have him on too many teams, JB. I can't take an injury to Javonte Williams. No, all right, go ahead. Talk about that because I mean, obviously, I see the reasoning, but I don't. I feel like bold about it. I don't know that I actually could justify starting him, though. It's a little risky.
Well, I mean, look, there's a reason why we would talk about him because he's not a must-start player, but it's a must-start matchup. You know, I mean, we saw last week what the Texans were able to do with all three of their running backs finding the end zone. So Melvin Gordon, I think, has the higher ceiling, and you could say he's the better start if you have the two. But I think this is a big game for Javonte Williams. You know, just looking at how bad this Jaguars defense is, they're going to be bad all season long. And he got enough work last week. You know, it was against a really tough run defense. You know, Melvin Gordon doesn't break that long run. We're not looking at Melvin Gordon as that much better than Javonte Williams. He was pretty bottled up himself.
Yeah, before that play, or aside from that play, sorry, the two of them, Gordon and Javonte Williams, combined for 24 carries for 76 yards with a long of 12 yards. So they did nothing, and then Gordon popped a 70-yard run.
Yeah, if you were hoping we would find out what they like one or the other more, they played the exact same amount of snaps. Melvin Gordon was slightly more used in the passing game. He had 22 pass snaps versus 19 for Javonte. We learned nothing. Except that, I mean, we learned nothing if you were looking to learn that one of them is better than the other right now for fantasy.
Kenneth Gainwell, or Kenny Gainwell, I should say, or Sony Michel.
Gainwell.
I think I would stick with Michel.
Would you guys rather have, by the way, Miles Sanders or James Robinson rest of season?
Sanders.
Henderson.
James Robinson or Miles Sanders was the
Sanders.
question. There you go. Jacoby
I
Myers.
thought you were going off the two backups. I'm sorry.
No problem. Yeah, it would have made sense, right? Jacoby Myers or DJ Chark, half PPR.
I think I would go with Shark. I think I might have moved him the highest relative to where I had him preseason and in week 1 of anyone in the entire league. I
will take Myers for this week. I don't think the Jaguars passing game is going to be very good against that Broncos secondary. So Myers gets the Jets, and I think they're pretty bad.
Ronald Darby out for the Broncos, but still, hopefully Chubb plays this week. They're going to be in the backfield the entire game. Who's a half PPR wide receiver rest of season outside the top 20 that could finish number 1 or 2?
As a number 1 or 2, or
I think the number 1 or 2.
Adam Thielen would probably be the most obvious choice.
Outside the top 20 preseason?
Yeah, I guess.
Or outside the top 20 right now?
I mean, Julio's probably outside of the top 20 for most people right now.
Ready for this one? What about
Deontay Johnson? Probably is too.
Yeah, what about Antonio Brown?
It's a great call.
Possibly, yeah.
Preseason? Could be Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now? Allen Robinson?
But it's not going to happen. But it's a fun topic, but it's pretty hard to do that. Finish number 1 or 2.
Well, I'll say this: if it's time that they're playing till time of finish, I'll take Michael Thomas.
He could be, yeah. I had him number 2 before the injury in my rankings. But yeah, I mean, with how good Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill are, it's going to be really hard for anyone to finish in the top 2.
Andrew and his dog want to know if he should pick up Sterling Shepard to start over Jacoby Myers in PPR. If I do, I forego the chance of picking up Jeff Wilson to stash.
I don't think people should get so crazy about Jeff Wilson. I mean, we're still talking about a guy that's going to be a timeshare when he comes back, and is he going to be the same guy when he comes back? So if that's your decision, then you pick up Sterling Shepard. I would rather have Jacoby Myers still, but it's close.
Also, I do have Sterling Shepard 2 spots higher than Myers in PPR. There's a chance you could add Jeff Wilson later in the week or next week. There's no guarantee he gets picked up.
I can't wait to preview the Giants game tomorrow. It's going to be just glorious. All those starter sit questions that nobody's going to care about. It'll be a very quick preview. Should I be worried about George Kittle? That was not the one I meant to click, but there it is. Should I be worried about George Kittle?
No.
There's nothing to be worried about.
No, he was 74 yards, something like that. No. Will Fuller is on waivers. I have Waddle and Mooney on the bench.
Yeah, drop Mooney.
Wow.
Easily.
I'd rather have both those guys over Fuller.
Huh. Woo. All right. Interesting.
Give me all the Mooney with Justin Fields, please. I'll be over the Mooney.
In week what?
Hopefully this week. Get Andy Dalton out of there.
Should I claim Michael Carter or Tony Jones?
Tony Jones.
I think Carter has more upside.
How much fab on Gronk?
All of it.
7 to 10%.
69 out of 100.
Yeah, he would like that. Yeah, listen to Chris on this one, not Jamie. Would you drop Le'Veon Bell for any in the world?
Yeah. Let me have the answer. Let me have to finish the sentence.
Drop him for me.
I had a league where I had 2 DSTs and Le'Veon Bell, and it took me a second to figure out which one to drop first.
I guess the only thing that you could say is they did cut Trenton Cannon today. So does that mean one of those guys is getting elevated? Now, they don't play special teams. They're Bell or Freeman. But what does that mean for those 2 guys now that there's a running back roster spot available?
Are you which Ravens running back would you take rest of season?
Tyson.
I think I'd probably go Murray with the way they used him in the second half, but yeah.
I hope they're
Murray did test my anyone will look good next to Lamar Jackson theory.
He didn't really look that good though. That's the thing.
No, he didn't look good at all.
Williams looked good. Murray,
yeah, but the fact that they went away from him so severely in the second half, just I don't know what's up with that.
Well, he botched a couple handoffs, and I know he struggled at the very end in pass protection. I didn't see throughout the game, but obviously they just trusted Latavius a little bit more. But that was concerning. Are you worried about Aaron Rodgers?
No.
I have to pick between Rodgers and Hurts this week, and I just feel like I'm going to get that decision wrong every.
Rodgers is going ballistic Monday night against the Lions.
But he might not have to throw that much.
He is going ballistic against the Lions Monday night.
The thing is, if he doesn't have to throw that much, it's probably because he hit 2 early touchdowns, you know?
Yeah.
So we have our panel from Dan Schneier, and he said, "What's your bold prediction for this week?" I said, "Rodgers goes for 404."
Mine was going to be Derrick Henry rushes for 200 yards, but I went with the Javonte Williams call. What about you, Chris?
Javonte Williams was my breakout player for this week. That question.
Oh,
these are
bold prediction. Allen Robinson is going to be the #1 wide receiver, and my breakout call was Najee Harris, which is a pretty boring one. I'm sorry.
Wait, who's my breakout player?
I just think
when was that?
Man, Najee got the Le'Veon Bell treatment in week 1.
Najee's what I said. Yeah.
He's going to be, I think, maybe a top 5 or 6 running back this season if he keeps getting used like that.
This is always the narrative that's fun. Monday night, overtime, traveling.
Yes.
West Coast, East Coast. I mean, that's a tired defense. They should smash.
Oh, yeah. All right. Here we go. Full PPR. Would you drop Ramondre? Yeah. Drop Stevenson for Gainwell.
Yep.
Flex PPR, Deontay Johnson or Najee Harris?
Najee.
I'll take Deontay in PPR. I like Najee's week 2.
I feel like we must have answered this because
we didn't answer it, but you put it up.
Oh, okay.
You just really wanted to see someone saying that we're awesome.
Thank you. Should I drop Latavius Murray for Elijah Mitchell?
That's fine.
I'm so worried about that because if the sermon curfew thing is true, then Elijah Mitchell could just be fool you, and Murray is definitely going to have a role.
Well, now Mitchell's going to have a role.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Sermon by himself.
So you guys will both do this? You drop Latavius?
I mean, I guess it just depends. Like if these are, your options for your second running back, I probably would take the hot hand if you can get Elijah Mitchell. But I would like to drop somebody else besides Latavius Murray. Like this is something like when we evaluate these things, like, people that are holding on to Justin Fields or Trey Lance, if it's not a keeper or dynasty league, you drop those guys if you don't need them.
Well, and the other thing is, do you think both Murray and Mitchell will end up being better than Jamal Williams, who he has locked in as his RB2?
Non-PPR. I think it's hard. The Lions look they have no one to throw to.
Brandon Ayuk? No, that wasn't the question. Ayuk by low?
That was
yeah.
such a yeah.
All right. Let's see. Superflex, Zach Wilson, Chase Claypool, DJ Chark, or Brandon Cooks? PPR.
It is so hard to say don't play a quarterback in your Superflex spot, but this might be one of those situations. I take Brandon Cooks.
I'd still go with Wilson.
How many points?
I don't feel great about it.
How many points? What?
You must have had a pretty decent game.
Wilson had 22. He was like one of 12 quarterbacks that had 22 points.
Incredible. 22 is just when there are no bye weeks. 22 is not really going to cut it.
But he may get 2 against the Patriots.
Yeah, Tua didn't get to 22, did he?
No Becton. Already bad offensive line. You got to deal with Belichick on the other side. Whew.
All of the press on the Jets that I've been seeing is their offensive line was terrible against the Panthers. Yeah, it's going to be a big issue.
And you just lost your best guy.
22.
Carson Wentz scored 22.
I did not realize that. Sam
Derek
Darnold
did not in regulation, but then he ended up with 27.
Yeah.
Am I growing the beard back? No. Jamie is polite enough to have me on the Fantasy Football Today video show twice a week, Wednesday and Friday. So I shave Wednesday morning and Friday morning. And that's kind of it for the week. Sometimes Sunday. I think I shave.
I've never been told that I have to shave for FFT.
But
maybe that's because
I don't tell them to shave.
Maybe that's because people have seen me without a beard. It's
You
the
have
only way I have faith. You know, like
beard.
face blindness, like the thing where like you just can't like identify faces. That's what my face is like if I don't have a beard.
Well,
I just like
whenever somebody who has facial hair doesn't have it, it's like, who the hell are you? Like Dave one time shaved his goatee.
He looked funny.
No idea who that was.
He looked funny.
And yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that.
Oh, maybe we could make it.
I wish Heath would bring back the beard.
How much fab for Juwan Johnson in 12-team PPR? I do not wish that. It was.
Well, it just. I was trying to find some pictures of Heath where he looked like Aaron Rodgers because they're becoming the same person. But now that Heath's beard is shorter, it doesn't quite work as well.
How much fab for Juwan Johnson?
5 to 10%, depending if you need a tight end.
3 to 5. He's not tight end eligible on CBS, right?
Yeah, he is. He is.
He is in the commissioner product. I don't believe he is in the free league.
Oh,
Okay. I checked one of my leagues and he wasn't. I don't know what was going on there then.
Saquon or Julio this week, half PPR.
Ooh,
Julio.
Would you trade Ayuk for would you trade Beckham for Ayuk?
Yes.
Yes.
There was a good one here. Oh, it was a good one. Will Antonio Gibson be affected negatively without Fitzpatrick enough to trade him?
No.
I mean, you can, but sometimes, as we see, running quarterbacks open up rushing lanes, and so if Heineke's going to be more mobile than Fitzpatrick, and Fitzpatrick is certainly mobile enough, I think Gibson's going to be fine. You got to like the workload that he got in week 1.
I think you have to get a top 10 running back at least for Gibson if you're trading him.
Would you trade Darren Waller for A.J. Brown and Kyle Pitts?
Wow, that's a blockbuster.
I would, yeah.
I think you almost have to.
Yeah, I was pretty firm in taking those 3 receivers who seem to go back to back to back, Metcalf, Jefferson, Brown, taking them ahead of Waller. That was always like, once they're off the board, I'm all in on Waller.
Yeah. I
don't want to overreact too much to 1 week, but I guess I'd probably move Waller up 3 spots.
Well, this is a fun one because, the debate was Waller versus Kittle. And after week 1, are we going to start debating Waller versus Kelsey?
I think that'd be an overreaction.
I agree. But
week 1, no. But when you look, you know what? I didn't check his ADOT. Did anybody check his ADOT? Darren
it felt like he was getting more downfield targets this year, or in week 1.
He had so many drops too that were
10.1, yeah.
Because that's what happened the last 6 games of the year last year. He started running deeper routes, or at least getting targeted on deeper routes. Yeah. He just went berserk, and it's continuing here. Yeah, no, everybody's still going to take Kelsey.
Yeah, but he only had 3 games all of last season with a higher ADOT than what he had on Monday night.
Were they all late in the year?
Week 10, week 15, and week 16.
Yeah.
That's please let every team single cover that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, look, you got it. Like, you have to take away Zay Jones. He is a game wrecker.
Look, they shut down Bryan Edwards for most of the game. They nearly won with that strategy.
Who should I start at PPR at flex? DJ Moore, Kareem Hunt, or Cortland Sutton?
DJ Moore easily. I loved what I saw from him.
Yeah, DJ Moore.
I love what I saw from him too, except same old. No touchdown.
Yeah, but now you have no Davenport, no Lattimore on the other side this week, so that should help him.
Yeah, big time. He's really terrific. Any worries with Damian Harris receiving a lighter workload because of the late fumble?
Slight worries, but you brought up a good point, Adam. It's not like they have Tom Brady to rescue them. So do they go away from what their strength is? And he was their best player.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to get 23 or 24 carries again, but you shouldn't have expected that anyway. The expectation should be 15 to 18 most weeks, and I think he'll get there.
Should MK Plus, this appears to be his business logo, or just he has a really cool logo for himself, trade Josh Jacobs or Kareem Hunt in full PPR?
I would look to trade both if you can, but I'd rather at this point hold Kareem Hunt because the production might be similar in PPR, and he's an injury away from being a top 10 running back.
For those of you who hate me and my opinions, you don't have to listen to this, but I would say that Josh Jacobs and Kareem Hunt are probably the 2 guys that would highlight my sell high column that I don't write. So
you think you could get a lot for Kareem Hunt?
Yeah, well, yeah, because I thought he was one of the most overdrafted players. It just didn't make sense to me, and they did not split touches. Like, Nick Chubb is the alpha dog. It's not, 1A and 1B. It's A and B.
The problem is the most likely outcome for Kareem Hunt every week is he's like the 25th best running back, which
he's got to score touchdowns. That's
fine. Yeah, but you draft him that high for the upside. It's just,
Well, you're drafting him, like you said, in that 25 to 30 range, which that's where I always thought he should go.
Yeah.
As he is a flex because you're going to get probably, 3 to 5 catches and probably, 6 to 10 carries. He's a threat to score. He seems to be their preferred goal line back, which is a little mind-boggling at times. But if something happens to Chubb, then you're looking at, superstar. I'll go back to the story I told Adam with James Questella, our first producer of Fantasy Football Today, where he was looking at not my rankings in a draft that I was helping him with, and he took Kareem Hunt, and he was like besides himself because he was like, "Oh, I got Kareem Hunt as your highest player," and I was like, "That's strange." It was like round 5. I was like, "That's strange," given the guys that we were talking about. And he's like, "Oh, there's Daryl Henderson," and then I was like, "You looked at the wrong thing." And trying to console him was the potential injury that Nick Chubb may sustain, which we don't want to see, but if it happens, Kareem Hunt should have been a 3rd round pick.
Yeah, I know. I understand that, but A.J. Dillon should be a 2nd round pick then. If
Yes.
that's the logic.
yeah, that's the thing is I think it's very similar to A.J. Dillon.
I know that Tony Pollard is not as flex worthy as Kareem Hunt.
But he could be now. After what we saw week 1, he could be.
Maybe. I don't think it's going to be quite like because they're not going to turn to Tony Pollard at the goal line. So I'm not going to say that Pollard should have been taken ahead of Hunt, but if Zeke were out and Chubb were out, you could pick either one. They both could be great. So I do think I don't know that I would trade Kareem Hunt for Robbie Anderson because I don't have a ton of faith in Sam Darnold. But I would aim higher.
I'd rather have Anderson.
And
if you could turn Kareem Hunt into Mike Evans or Allen Robinson at this point, that's easy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's no question.
Yeah. And I think you might be able to. We see crazy.
You certainly can with Josh Jacobs because of what his name carries in the 2 touchdown game.
Yeah. Is Christian Kirk a must pick up waiver wire?
Not must.
I don't think so, but Kyler Murray is going to have a lot of big weeks. I mean, that's clearly, he showed you that last year when he was healthy. He showed you that in week 1. And who's going to be the second guy consistently? Is there going to be a second guy consistently? Because it was AJ Green with 6 targets, Rondale Moore and Christian Kirk with 5 targets, and clearly Kirk just did the most with it. But he's also, Adam, in that same situation of the Devontae Parker, Corey Davis, Mike Williams, where he was basically, okay, we're done with you. You play out the string this year, and we clearly have other options, whether it's bringing in a veteran or bringing in the rookie. So he had the, touchdown in the preseason, which was nice to see. And then the 2 touchdown game in week 1. I wouldn't be surprised if he has sort of one of those seasons where it's like, why didn't I pick up Christian Kirk? But he's behind, so many guys for me. I just think it's just hard to say that he's going to be the second guy week in, week out.
Yeah, he ran only 22 routes on 34 pass plays, I think. Yeah, 34 pass plays. So, he was a bigger part of the offense than Rondale Moore, but they schemed up Rondale Moore more, and Rondale Moore came so close to having a big game. He had a good game, but he probably got held on what would have been a touchdown early on in that game. And if he hits that, you're talking about an extra, I think, 20 yards and a score. And we're probably talking about Rondale Moore as the big pickup from that team.
I am going to do rapid fire to finish the hour. Would you drop Matt Ryan for Bridgewater or Jameis?
Jameis.
Yep, Jameis.
Robbie Anderson or Sterling Shepard?
Anderson.
I might have Shepard ranked higher this week. Nope, Robbie by 1 spot.
Would you drop Gabriel Davis, Aguilar, or Pollard for Elijah Mitchell?
Yes, not Pollard.
I would probably drop Aguilar.
Ayuk or Callaway rest of season?
Ayuk.
Yeah.
Andrews or...
Come on, next.
Would you trade Antonio Brown for Devontae Smith?
No.
How much fab on Elijah Mitchell?
All of it. 25 to 40%.
Yep.
Devontae Smith or Mike Williams, PPR?
Mike Williams.
Smith.
Or should he start one of them over McLaurin?
You
I
can,
would
yeah.
still stick with McLaurin.
Yeah, McLaurin had 2 pretty good games against the Giants last year with crappy quarterbacks. So it's hard.
I mean, he's been pretty good in his career with crappy quarterbacks.
Yeah, he has. Daryl Henderson or Allen Robinson rest of season?
Oh, Robinson.
Robinson.
Trade Aaron Rodgers and DJ Moore for Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith?
No.
Keep Rodgers and Moore. Brown and Corey Davis. for Higbee and Lamb.
And that's a very clear distinction on who it is.
I would think it's AJ Brown.
It could be Malcolm Brown. It could be Marquise Brown. It could be AJ Brown. It could be Antonio Brown. It could
Okay,
be...
so if it's Antonio Brown or any of the other people, you take the Lamb side. If it's AJ, you take the AJ Brown side.
You know, it could be somebody trying to capitalize on Corey Davis' big game and Marquise Brown scoring a good game, having a good game. But yeah.
And CeeDee Lamb is just going to be a monster.
I really liked what we saw from Tyler Higbee's usage in this in week 1 as well. I think the breakout might actually happen. And by that, I mean he could get like 700 yards and 5 touchdowns.
He did that in the final 5 games of 2019 by himself.
Should he be worried about Deontay Johnson, Callaway, and Sutton as his wide receivers? Yes, not Johnson.
I mean, knowing that you have those running backs with Ezekiel Elliott, Alvin Kamara, and Damian Harris, those 3 receivers are probably fine. But I think you're going to have to make some moves. So, you know, it's not a bad idea to explore a trade for one of those backs to help your receiving core. But obviously, Sutton benefits now. Callaway should still be okay. And I think Deontay Johnson's fine.
Pick 2 to start. CEH, Barkley, Sermon, Jamal Williams.
CEH and Williams.
Okay. Rank these 4 waiver pickups. Winston, Ingram, Hyde, Breida.
Winston. I think we lost Chris's audio. Winston.
I thought he was just being quiet. I'm sorry.
Oh, I muted myself. Sorry.
There you are.
I was wondering why nobody was listening to me.
Sorry.
Winston, Ingram, Hyde, Breida.
Winston, Ingram.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Oh, okay. Okay. They want to murder you in a well. I've got Higgins. Should I worry about Chase?
No, they both can coexist.
Yes.
Maybe you should worry about Boyd. We'll see. Pick 2 in PPR this week. Gaskin, Harris, Devontae Smith, and Sterling Shepard.
The 2 running backs.
Yep, Gaskin, Harris.
Marquise Brown or Nelson Aguilar?
Brown.
Brown.
Super flex. Give up Eckler and Rodgers for Lamar Jackson, Henderson, and some Robinson. Do I do it?
Definitely if it's Allen Robinson. Probably so if it's still James Robinson.
You think it's that big upgrade from Rodgers to Jackson? Because I don't want to give up Eckler.
No, but if it's Allen Robinson, that's easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with that.
All right. Let's get a few more here. Long-term waiver pickup. Mitchell, Tyson, or Jamal Williams?
How scary would it be if it's Jamal Williams?
I think it might be Williams.
It might be.
Okay. Michael Pittman for Tim Patrick, PPR. Would you drop Pittman for Patrick?
Yes.
Chris? Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if
I think Michael Pittman. Sorry, I was looking for something. Michael Pittman. Yes,
right.
I think Michael Pittman might not be good.
Okay. And 3 to start this week. Mike Evans, Mike Williams, Mike Brown. No, Mike Evans, Mike Williams, Marquise Brown, Ayuk, and Mooney.
Evans, Williams, and Brown.
Yes.
Chase, Juju. Nope, that's not the one. Where'd it go? All right, sorry, I lost it. Mixon, Claypool, and Tannehill for Tua, Edwards-Helaire, and Tyreek Hill.
I think I would take the Tua side, but it would be really hard to trade Joe Mixon right now.
So I think the quarterbacks sway it for me, so I'll stick with Mixon.
Non-PPR, should I drop Noah Fant for Gronk?
Yes.
I would hope you have a worse player, but no, I'd still stick with Fant.
He doesn't score touchdowns, though. That's a problem in non-PPR.
But Alberto does. Maybe they're coming. Who knows? Yeah, no, they're probably not. Worth spending the number 4 waiver priority on Mark Ingram in a deep league.
Ugh, I hope not, but if you're stuck, I guess so.
Yeah, in a deep league.
Lamb or Deontay Johnson flex PPR. Really? You can't start both of them? Come on. All right, that's it for today's show. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Really appreciate it. We're doing this every Tuesday night at 8 p.m., every Thursday afternoon at 2 p.m., every Sunday at 11:30 a.m., and, of course, you can watch CBS Sports HQ, Fantasy Football Today. Usually it is noon Eastern, but sometimes it's 11 Eastern. Tomorrow it's 11, right?
Tomorrow's 11 because of our Syria soccer coverage. We have a fun Name That Player See if
It's so fun.
see if Heath can hold off Pete again.
What you should do is have me versus Pete because I am terrible at it. I really think I might lose to Pete.
Here, you want to cheat? See if nobody's watching.
Okay, yeah.
See how you guys do.
All right.
It's a running back. Clue number 1. He might be the best running back on his team as soon as this week.
Trey Sermon.
Wrong. You're out. Clue number 2. His previous coach and his current coach are both Super Bowl winners, although he did not win a Super Bowl with either guy. And clue number 3. Former CBS host Ryan Bass loves this player.
Latavius
I'm
Murray.
going to say it's Latavius Murray.
Latavius Murray.
Yeah. Was I really out?
Of course.
You know, Adam, I do, before we go, I just have to say one thing.
Okay.
You know, I've heard you have a lot of hair on your chest, Adam. And let me tell you, that's not your only resemblance to Rin Tin Tin. It's your face.
He's amazing.
Now
Watch,
show your chest there. Show it.
watch. No, that's all right. This is my chest there. You think
No,
I'm wearing
show
a
it. Come on.
shirt? This is my chest there.
Just show it. Come on.
Good night, everybody. I'm
Hold
going
on the collar a little bit.